McBride and welcome to my Sugared Hearts design set workshop. In this workshop I will teach you how to create a beautiful design set fit for Valentine's Day using gel polish and acrylic to create a beautiful sugared effect. I really hope you guys enjoy this workshop, so let's get started. So welcome to my Sugared Hearts design workshop. So I've already prepared my 3 tips, and on these tips I have used my beautiful Shady Lady from the Core collection, which is a really nice soft subtle grey, okay, and then we have used our I'd Rather Be Shiny, which is our no wipe shiny top coat. Okay, so obviously if you were doing this on a client, you will have done your prep and your base coat and then 2 coats of your gel polish, which I've used Shady Lady for, and then gone in with your top coat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start creating my design. So the first one I'm going to do, obviously it's all themed around Valentine's because we are in January, so preparing you for Valentine's nails. So I've just put down a little bit of Candy Kisses, again from my Core collection, so Get Nailed by Lauren McBride, and I'm just going to go in with it's not a striping brush, but it's a little bit thicker than a detailer brush. So I'm going to go in with this brush because I want that really nice tapered point on there. And the reason for that is because I want to spell out the word love and have it a little bit swirly and scrolly. So I need to have that really nice tapered point. So love obviously has 4 letters in it, with in between the O and the V being the center. So that's where you need to work your wording from. So always work from the center no matter what it is that you're writing out. So I'm going to start with the O, and I'm just going to come in here and just pop it down, just so that I get that placement correct, okay? And that's the joy of working with gel polish, because if you do get it wrong, you can go in with a little bit of gel residue wipe off solution and just remove it. So I'm putting in my O, and then I'm going to go in next to it, and it's going to come at a diagonal, and I'm going to pop my V in there, making sure that you've got that really nice crisp point at the bottom. And then I'm going to bring this up slightly because we are going to make this swirly. So I'm now coming through the O and linking that to the first top point of the V. And then I'm going to come in and do my E. So start off doing a C, and then you can go in and put the finer details of that E in separately. So breaking that curve down. And then again, I'm going to link that to the top point of the second part of the V. Okay, and then I'm just going to give this a little wiggle and taper it out and off towards the edge of that cuticle line. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with the L. Come in here and again link it up with the O, and then I've broken that down, which enables me to come in and do that curve. And then again, like we've done on the E, do that little taper out. Okay, so you can see how this is a normal gel polish, but it hasn't bled out and it has held its own weight, okay, which is exactly what we want it to do. So I'm now going to go in with a clear acrylic, and I've just got a spare full cover tip here. You can use a little spatula if you want to, and I'm going to flock this. So with my clear acrylic, it's going to take on the colour of the polish that we've used, so it's going to stay pink. It's not going to dull that colour at all, and I'm just going to saturate by dusting over that work that I've just done. Now, if it starts to go shiny again, okay, as the gel is absorbing the clear acrylic, saturate it again. So this is uncured, okay. And then once you're happy and that it's fully immersed in that clear acrylic, I am going to pop that in the lamp for a full cure. Okay, so again, I'm just going to pop that clear acrylic to one side, and now I'm going to start on the second and third nails for this workshop. So what I want to do is pop these together. So again, I've used Shady Lady here as my base so that they tie in nicely, and if this was on a client you would want them to put their fingers together. So normally this would be on ring finger and index, or and middle finger, so it's up to you, but you will need to put both the nails together because this is going to transfer from one nail to the other and create that flow. So what you want to do is line up your cuticle lines and your free edges on both nails and then pop them together like so. And then I'm just going to give myself a guide to work from and bring this out and create my heart shape. Okay, so again, come in and round, making sure that you're getting it as even as possible. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because you have got that natural gap in between the two fingers, but if you can get it to marry up nicely, then it will look a lot better. So now I have done that, I'm going to go in and I want to create a gap here. So I'm going to create a more solid heart in the center of that heart that we've just created. Again, marrying it up to the other nail and then coming round and doing same on the other side. Okay, and then bringing that down and round. So again, looking at both nails as a whole so that we get the full picture, making sure that they marry up really nicely. All right, and then I'm going to separate them and work on them independently because we've got our outline there, and it means that we can now work on them as separate entities. So what you will find is, obviously if this was on a client, you would have that free edge, side wall, sorry, that you'd be working to. So I'm just going to tidy that up because we don't want any overhang there, and we certainly don't want to be having any contact with our client's skin and any uncured product because you do not want to overexpose them. And then I'm going to come in and round. Okay, and then I'm going to do exactly the same with the flocking technique. So again, clear powder, clear acrylic powder, saturating that gel polish, making sure that it doesn't go shiny, so letting it absorb that gel polish. So you can see we've got a little bit of shine in there still, so I'm just going to saturate it again and make sure that we've got that really nice velvet flocked effect. Don't be tempted to dust it off, just give it a little shake and then pop it in the lamp again for a full cure. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on our third nail. So this nail is just going to be mirrored to the second nail. Okay, so just going in, filling in that heart in the center, and then obviously working near the client's side walls and making sure that we're not having any contact with the skin. And then pulling that down and taking it to the edge. Okay, again, I'm going to flock it with my clear acrylic powder. And with flocking, it's always good to keep a separate pot of clear acrylic powder. So don't be using the acrylic powder that you would use for an enhancement, because not only may it become contaminated and affect the longevity of your acrylic nails, but also you don't want to be wasting your good quality, expensive product by doing your flocking. Okay, so that's now going to go in the lamp again for a full cure, and I'm going to grab my first nail out, which is Love, and I'm going to get a scrubby brush. So this isn't a soft brush, it's a really nice stiff brush, and they're also able to be disinfected and cleaned really nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with my scrubby brush and scrub over the entirety of this nail, making sure that we're removing any of that loose acrylic powder. And there you have that flocked design against that beautiful shiny background. So now it's entirely up to you whether you go in and add some dots and a little bit of interest to this. And I'm going to do exactly that. Okay, so I'm just going to add some little hearts just here. So just using the tip of my brush to create the round top of my heart, and then just pulling that down into a point. So tiny little hearts are really simple to do. So again, just pulling that down and creating our itty bitty hearts. And then I'm just doing some dots just to create a little bit of interest, because Love just written on the nail, it does look beautiful, but it can be a little bit boring. So we want to make sure that it's little details like this that do up your nail game and make you stand out from other nail techs, because you have put that extra little bit of thought into it. Okay, so again, I want this flocked, so I'm going to go in with my clear tip and just go over those areas with my clear acrylic, using my tip as a scoop. And then as that gets absorbed, and if it starts to go shiny again, just make sure that you fully saturate that gel polish. Okay, so that's now going to go in the lamp again for a full cure, and then we're going to continue to work on our heart. So again, I'm going to dust this off like we did Love with my dusty brush, and I'm going to continue to do a couple more outlines for this heart. So leaving the same amount of gap between all the way around, so it's nice and consistent. And like I say, that's the joy of working with gel polish, because if you do make a mistake, you can just go in and wipe it off. So working all the way around, making sure that it's nice and consistent. And we've got a nice even amount of product on there. And then around this, I'm just going to do some dots. Okay, so I've got my dotting tool. This one is on the smaller side. And we don't want to place our dots too close together, because when we flock, they are going to expand. Okay, so be aware of leaving a larger gap than what you normally would between your dots. Okay, so you can see I just started in the middle there and then working my way round. Okay, and now that is going to get flocked. So I'm going to again use my tip and my clear powder and flock all of those dots and that outline. And you can see how those dots are expanding as it's absorbing, that gel is absorbing our acrylic. So again, making sure that it doesn't go shiny at all. And if it does, saturate it again. And then that again is going to go in the lamp for a full cure. And then again, I'm going to just dust this off using my scrubby brush. And you can be really firm with it. You don't have to be gentle because it has fully cured. And this will stay nice and velvet. I have a lot of people ask me if it stays like this. It most certainly does, because that acrylic powder is set now into your gel. Okay, so there we have our first nail. Love against that beautiful shiny background. I love grey and pink together. I think it's really classy. And I'm going to pop that on my tip stand. And then we are going to continue to do this first nail, okay? So, or second nail, but first one of the mirror. Now it's up to you whether you continue to add a design around here, but I really quite like it quite simple like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and add a few little crystals in this negative space here. So I'm just going to grab my crystals. So I'm going to be using flatbacks, and my crystals are from Crystal Parade. And I'm just going to check my sizing. So yeah, I'm going to be using these ones. I think I have got some slightly darker fuchsia, but I think the rose is going to match up better with the design that I've done. And then I'm going to grab a crystal flip tray and pop my crystals in there. So these are so much more useful to a normal triangle sorting tray, which I know most nail techs use. But with the flip tray like this, if I just get all my crystals out, I've got a little bit static, so they're sticking slightly. So like I say, these crystals are from Crystal Parade. So with the flip tray, all you have to do is give it a little wiggle and all of your crystals line up and turn around the right way in order to be placed on the nail. So now what I'm going to do is go in with my Gem Buddy. So this again is from the Get Nailed by Lauren McBride collection, and it's a perfect adhesive for your crystals. It cures in either LED or UV, and it's perfect for caviar beads, for flat back crystals, and also your pointy back crystals. So it's a 3-in-1 gem glue, and as we like to say, your crystal's best friend. So ABs would look really pretty on this as well. So I'm just going to now go in and pick up my crystals and one by one just pop them on into that gap that we've created between those outer two lines. Okay, so I'm just going to come in and pop a little bit more Gem Buddy down, because what's happened is, because this flocking is stood up off of the nail, you do need to have that slightly thicker contact area for your Gem Buddy, for your crystals to be able to sit into. Okay, So again, I'm just going to work my way round, not worrying too much about any gaps or anything yet. That will come. Curing, I'm going to crack on and do the rest of the second nail with regard to the heart, and I'm going to hyperlapse that so you guys don't get sick of watching me again. Okay, so we have now completed our two halves of our heart, and you can see they marry up beautifully to create one complete heart. All right, so crystal placement is not crystal placement without caviar beadwork, and it's going to really finish this design off. So I'm just popping a little bit of my gem buddy down, picking up my caviar beads, which I am using rose gold, and rolling them around in that gem buddy. Okay, so I'm now going to pick up each caviar bead individually and pop it into the corner that has been created by the two crystals sitting together. Okay, so this may seem quite tedious, but it really doesn't take very long when you have got your rhythm, and it really is worth it. It really finishes off your crystal placement, and you will be able to see that because we have done the same nail, obviously mirrored. You'll be able to see one with caviar bead placement and one without, and you'll be able to see the difference that it makes. And honestly, it's massive. So I'm just grabbing my caviar beads, popping them into those corners, and not forgetting these corners here. So the corners that would be sat in your client's side wall. Don't forget that area there. Okay. So I'm just gonna, these have all bunched up a little bit, so I just need to separate them. And then working methodically all the way around this heart crystal placement and popping your caviar beads down. So the reason I have rolled my caviar beads in the gem buddy is because it creates an encapsulation on your caviar beads. So not only does it give it that really good contact area onto the nail, but it also, with some coloured caviar beads, you can tend to lose the colour after a while. And if they're encapsulated in this gem buddy, then they're not going to do that, okay? And you're not going to dull the shine on your caviar beads because they're a smooth surface. So I would never ever recommend to go over any crystal that is faceted with any sort of product, so top coat, base coat, or certainly not gem buddy, because what happens is crystals get their shine from the facets that are cut into the top of them. So it's the refraction of the light in the facets that create them to shine. Whereas with a caviar bead, you haven't got that. It's just a round ball. So if you were to smooth those facets on a crystal, you're making it a smooth surface, so the facets can no longer refract the light. Okay, so it's really important that you don't go over any faceted crystal or embellishment, because you will lose the shine. And that's why with glitter and mylar flakes and caviar beads and things like that, when you encapsulate them, they still shine because they haven't got the facets on them, so it's not a problem. So I'm just going to come in here and just scooch away that excess gem buddy, and there you can see we have completed our caviar beadwork. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to grab this nail that's exactly the same, and you can see the difference in the quality of that crystal placement and those two. It's exactly the same design, but how it completely finishes off that crystal placement. So I'm going to pop this in the lamp now for a full cure, which is again 60 seconds, and I'm going to crack on and do this second half of the heart. Okay, so I have now completed that second caviar bead placement on the rest of this beautiful heart, and you can see they fit together beautifully. We've got that contrast between our shiny shady lady in the background and that matte flocked candy kisses, and they fit together beautifully with those rose flat crystals with our rose gold caviar beads. And then we've also got our love written out again in candy kisses with our I'd rather be shiny on top of shady lady as a background. So what you could do for this as well, so you could have that as the placement on the nails, or you could separate these up and pop love in the middle. So it's entirely up to you how you place this on a real hand, but I think it looks super cute like that. And that completes this workshop. So that completes my Sugared Hearts design set workshop. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure you click the like button. And if you want to see any future workshops, please make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all soon.